Alright, here we go into the first round. Lost the die roll, and that's kind of a bummer. But such is life. Playing against PLVG Joe. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I do think this is a deck that is... The strategy was right as the draft progressed to start thinking about it being more of a nice... I shouldn't really call it control. It's really mid-range. I don't really have any removal, but it's really not the scary, aggressive white-blue deck that's out there. And to be honest, that works a little bit better with my playstyle. I think one of the main ways I can be improving at Magic is trying to learn how to do aggressive strategies, which I kind of feel behind the times. It's, I understand that aggressive strategies are kind of where a lot of Magic players start. They seem more straightforward because they're so linear in their strategy, but for me, I just find them so difficult to play because I'm much more of a take it slow and take some incremental advantages. So if anyone has any good recommendations of drafters out there or just good strategy sites that are good at building up kind of like aggressive strategies, give me a heads up, because I would love to kind of delve more into that. And I'm going to pause and stop rambling since we're just waiting for my opponent to join the game. Cool, so here we are. We've got to keep, because we have some powerful cards in hand, a 2-drop and a Voyages into Scry if it gets really dire, and then any land gets us either an Enlightenment on the Pegasus or our Spear down, so no, we're not going to. Our opponent did mold a 6. I just don't want to be greedy and get screwed and, to a really nasty hand. Traveler's Amulet is okay. And we have a really nice follow-up with Cavalry Pegasus and Traveling Philosopher working pretty nicely together. Return Phalanx, okay. Then we're definitely going to do the Cavalry Pegasus first, so we can get damage in sooner. And there's our land. Cool. I'm worried. I'm playing against the black-green opponent, who is hitting this amulet on main phase, and with a little bit of red. Interesting. Okay. This we don't care about. I could go ahead and play the Spear right now, take this turn to start getting some damage in, which I kind of like since I have no pressure for my opponent, but it's really just to maximize my mana, which I think I am going to do because I can play the Philosopher next turn and leave Voyage's End up or something. So let's go ahead and take that opportunity now. My opponent's not going to be bashing through with Return Centaur. Okay, so here we go with a removal spell here, Lightning Strike. That's actually okay that my opponent wants to use a Lightning Strike on a Cavalry Pegasus. Sure, it worked well with my Philosopher, but Pharaoh's Enlightenment should be pretty okay. And here now, yeah, we're just looking to get to Metamai and then sort of take over from there. Still, worried about black-green, just because that was pretty open. There's a lot going around. Kind of excited to have a Traveling Philosopher again. Kind of makes me wish I had the Cavalry Pegasus back. I could go ahead and rock the Pharaoh's Enlightenment on the Traveling Philosopher right now, but with my opponent already showing one Lightning Strike, I don't really know if my opponent's splashing green or not. Probably splashing. No, my opponent's splashing the mountain. That's what my opponent searched for. So I could just be being a little too cautious. But again, this... If I just draw one more land, I can do the Enlightenment, and if something dies, I can... No, Enlightenment still goes down, right? Yeah, I'm being too cautious. Let's go ahead and start getting some aggression on. This is a 4/4 flyer with God's Willing mana up, so my opponent's going to have to think twice. And I'm pretty sure there's no removal spell here. My opponent would have used it before Enlightenment entered the battlefield, because I would have gotten Enlightenment off the battlefield. Sip could be a little bit dangerous, and my opponent is just over it and reveals 3 swamps, which I'm glad to have that information, but I mean, that's a huge flood. I just would never give that to my opponent. Alright, so we saw 2 spells, one of which was a Traveler's Amulet for my opponent. Not a whole lot I'm caring about here on the sideboard. I think I do like the deck. I do like the Crackling Tritons over the Triton Fortune Hunters, since my opponent has the Return Phalanx 3/3s. These guys aren't going to be doing a whole lot of work, so I'd rather just stay on defense myself. So yeah, let's keep it this way. Do you want to remember the plan against black? There is the case of discard. I'll keep this. One land gets us pretty well turned on, and then an island gets us very well turned on. I could mull, but I do have a 2-drop, and I'm going to be on, or I am on the draw, so I have an extra draw step, which is kind of critical. I'll be more than likely grabbing what I need, and I did just grab it right away. Pretty relieved there, not to worry too hard. Ooh, and that my opponent is not going to be happy about. Because I get to attack through that. And easily slamming it on turn 3. So my opponent kind of tilted on the flood last turn, while my opponent tilt on a turn 3 Brimaz. And yeah, seems to be kind of bummed about that. Can't throw away my Philosopher against Return Phalanx. Alright, so we'll go ahead and play our island. We're going to keep Voyage's End up on our attack here. Opponent goes for a block, might have a trick or something. And in this case, we get to go ahead and Voyage's End the Return Phalanx. Did I click right? And Deepwater Hypnotist really isn't what we're looking for, so we'll put on the bottom. I might get a land or something, but that's really not something I care about. Should be safe here from a removal for Brimaz, with what my opponent has on color-wise and mana-wise. Okay, so we get to get some attacks in, so that's nice. Not awesome, but I'm certainly not complaining. I'll go ahead and save my Alciad for a bestow. Opponent's probably just going to eat the cat soldier. No, just wants to stay alive longer. Okay. Cool with that. I don't have tricks, so you get to have it. Do I rather have an Elite Skirmisher or a Wave Crash Triton? I think it's Wave Crash Triton, right? Yeah. Because then we can go ahead next turn and put Observant Alciad on top of the Wave Crash Triton and be in pretty good shape. Now Brimaz is a little bit susceptible to removal. Can you with the gods? Okay. Ooh, Underworld Cerberus? That's what my opponent splashed for, that and the Lightning Strike. Gets a Raised by Wolves. Only has 3 mana up at the moment, though. I'm going to remember it's raised by keeping this here. So in a turn or two, that's going to be a thing. Ooh. And you have a 3-drop? I don't think there's a 3-drop I'm particularly worried about. Return Phalanx. Alright, definitely a bummer that my opponent didn't use the Occult to cast that, but, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I think we just go with a Plains out, Observant Alciad on the Wave Crash Triton, tapping down the Occult, and then see if that allows us to do a bash through with both of them, including Brimaz. And I'm tapping on the Occult. because I want Brimaz to be able to get through. This also keeps all mana open, or rather tied up, I should say. I'm going to attack in with everything except for the Traveling Philosopher here. I don't mind if my opponent wants to eat a Cat Soldier, because it's going to eat a Cat Soldier anyway, with the one that's attacking. Also, tying up my opponent's mana for this turn is kind of nice as well. Ooh, Grave Robber Spider. That's good, except for that my opponent doesn't have mana to activate it right now. So yeah, it does blocks and stuff, but it's not really a huge deal when there's so much bashing through right now. So we'll attack in with Brimaz, this guy, and the cats again. Pretty much the same attack as last turn. Then we're just going to overcommit to the board. Is there any reason to do that one? No. I am going to say the Traveling Philosopher. I played Elite Skirmisher because it's a lethal creature. Traveling Philosopher, there's no reason to play. We have so many lethal on the board. The extra 2/2, I don't think it's going to be anything relevant for what my opponent can be doing here. And I'm more worried about being blown out by a board sweeper. Okay, there's the Raised by Wolves, which you knew about. Does that keep my opponent alive, though? Is that enough? Maybe my opponent now does have enough blocks here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's not enough. So we're there, right? Yeah. Because my opponent's tapped out, I'm doing this. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Plus this guy, there's still 4 points of damage. Yes, we're good. There we go. And as planned, we won with our Mythic Rares. Very nice. We'll see you in the second round.